अस्सलाम वालेकुम डॉक्टर साहब, am I audible?
जी वालेकुम अस्सलाम जी, बिल्कुल आप ऑडिबल हैं।
Thank you डॉक्टर साहब, thank you for your time. I understand. इस वक्त हमारे पास तकरीबन 6 बजे, आई डोंट नो आयरलैंड में क्या टाइम क्या होगा. इट मे बी आफ्टरनून.
Yes, it's afternoon at 2 p.m.
2 p.m. Good afternoon to you डॉक्टर साहब.
Thanks.
अच्छा डॉक्टर साहब, इसमें हम just giving a brief update about the Dawood University. I think you are a Mehran graduate, so maybe you are familiar with the Dawood University. It was a college. It was established in 1964. Originally, when college was established, there were only 3 departments: chemical engineering, metallurgical engineering, and electronics engineering. Then in 2010, it was devolved to the government of Sindh. Before that, it was a federal government institute. After 2013, it became a university. And recently, in the last 2 years, we have started few postgraduate programs like MS and PhD in electronics engineering, MS and PhD in computer system engineering, and MS and PhD in chemical engineering. Chemical is one of the oldest department we have in chemical department. Now in today, we have a few faculty members here, and most of our students, they are enrolled in MS and PhD students. They are audience of the today's session. So now I hand over the mic to you, and we will give you a admin right of the Zoom so that you can show your presentation. And I just request you to start recording of the session so that we, after closing, we have a recording of the session. Because once we shifted the rights to you, only you have a right to record the session.
Sure.
Thank you,
So
Dr.
is it okay if I share the presentation? So my slides are visible to all of you.
जी सर, आपकी आवाज बहुत साफ है, क्लियर है.
So may I start in English or Urdu or whichever you suggest?
Whichever you like, sir. आप अपनी convenience के हिसाब से आपने. It's both equal, Urdu and English.
Okay, and the recording is it's showing me that the recording is going on.
Thank you, Dr.
Okay. So thank you very much to all of you, and particularly to the worthy Pro Vice Chancellor for inviting me for this talk. So the topic of my presentation is blockchain systems and communication networks. And I will be focusing on the challenges and opportunities for developing countries, how we can use blockchain systems and communication network altogether. So before giving you the actual context about blockchain systems and communication networks, I want to share you some applications of blockchain so that you get an idea where blockchain system can be used and how it has been used in the international market, and what are the key players of the blockchain systems. So you may have heard about.
सॉरी, आपको इंटरप्ट कर रहा हूँ. साउंड अगर आपका थोड़ा हल्का हो रहा है, जब आप पीछे बैक साइड पे आप जा रहे हैं ना, अगर आप फ्रंट पे आ रहे हैं तो आपका आवाज क्लियर आ रहा है.
ओके.
हाँ, अब सही आ रहा है.
So yeah. So basically, when we look at these different underlying technologies, for example, cryptocurrency, Web3, metaverse, DeFi, non-fungible tokens. So these are different technologies that we may have heard about. So cryptocurrency is one of the recent technology that people are using as a mode of payment. For example, you may have heard about Bitcoin or Ethereum. So these are a few of the cryptocurrencies. So these cryptocurrencies are using blockchain as a technology for their working. So one of the first cryptocurrency, which was Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is basically using blockchain as an underlying technology. Similarly, when we talk about decentralized finance, DEFI, here you can see DeFi. So DeFi is basically a peer-to-peer financial services system which offers financial instruments without relying on the intermediaries such as brokerages, exchanges, or banks by using a smart contract on a blockchain. So DeFi, decentralized finance, rely on blockchain technology. Similarly, when we talk about DApps, decentralized applications, this is again using blockchain technology, and it is an application that can operate autonomously, typically through the use of smart contracts that runs on a decentralized computing blockchain or other distributed ledger system. When we talk about Web3, so right now the internet that we are using, it's Web2. So we are moving towards next generation of internet, which is known as Web3. So it will be a new architecture of internet having decentralization using blockchain and cryptocurrencies. Similarly, we have DAO. DAO is basically a decentralized autonomous organization, and it is an organization constructed by rules encoded as a computer program that is often transparent, controlled by the organization's members, and not influenced by a central government. Similarly, when we look at metaverse, so you may have heard about Facebook. Facebook has changed its name from Facebook to Meta. So they are working on a new generation of platform which is known as metaverse, where they will be using avatars, they will be developing new business models, and a new type of interaction where we will be using virtual and augmented reality to interact with. So right now, when we use the Facebook platform, we can only chat, we can perform some audio chatting, video chatting, but Facebook is trying to integrate sensors, virtual reality, augmented reality, and trying to create avatars of our own characters, and we can then interact more closely over the metaverse. And again, we have smart contracts. So smart contracts are such types of contract which will be running autonomously. And finally, we have non-fungible tokens, NFTs. So NFTs are basically providing security to your digital asset. So with NFTs, you can identify who is the owner of the digital content. For example, you have a picture, digital picture, and if you want to claim that picture belongs to you, how you can claim that? So with the help of NFTs, you can claim that. So you can see these are different technologies ranging from cryptocurrency, Web3, metaverse, non-fungible tokens, decentralized finance, smart contracts. All of these technologies are relying on blockchain. So blockchain is necessary for these technologies to operate. So in simple words, blockchain is like a database. Blockchain is like a database where you store information. Now, the question arises, how blockchain is different from traditional databases? The main difference is that traditional databases are centralized, while blockchain is decentralized. And this is the main difference. I will explain all the details in my next slides. So let me give you another example where we are trying to buy and sell some virtual land over the internet. So if you visit this website, this is nextearth.io. It is a website which you can visit by yourself. This website basically build maps of the whole world, and they are trying to sell different land slabs around the globe. So I visited this website, and then I zoom out to Eiffel Tower. Eiffel Tower is located in France. Many of you know it's in Paris. So I selected the area as you can see, this area marked in blue color of the Eiffel Tower. So when I selected this area on the map of this Next Earth website, it shows me the total price of this land area, and it shows me who is the owner of this land. So if I'm interested, I can buy this land from the owner by paying the amount that he mentioned. So he mentioned 311,854 USDT. USDT is basically a cryptocurrency. So if you convert this cryptocurrency, it is around 6 crore 53 lakhs Pakistani rupees. So if I want to buy this digital land of Eiffel Tower, I need to pay 6 crore 53 lakh rupees. This is a huge amount. Now, when I buy this, I can then sell it for to other people's this the same land. Similarly, I zoom out in Pakistan and I zoom out further to Nust. Nust is located in Rawalpindi, Islamabad. So I selected the area of Nust, as you can see over here, and it is showing me the price of Nust area is just only 2 lakh rupees, 2,51,000 Pakistani rupees. So you can see I can go and browse any part of the world and check who is the owner of the digital land on this map, and I can buy it if the owner wants to sell that land. Now the question is why the land of National University, Nust University is so much lower, the price is lower, while the price of the Eiffel Tower is higher, because of the demand, and because of the demand of the digital land places over the internet. So the National University land is not that much famous over the internet, while the Eiffel Tower land is very much famous. That's why everyone try to buy it. That's why they have the higher prices. Now there are issues with this virtual land. First, before going into the issues, if you see, when I try to buy the virtual land, I use cryptocurrency. So I use Polygon Matic cryptocurrency to buy this virtual land, digital land. Then how I can show the ownership of this virtual land? I will be using NFTs. At the back end, NFTs, non-fungible tokens, will be used to record who is the owner of that particular land. And then at the back end, the main technology is blockchain. So behind cryptocurrency or behind NFT, blockchain will be used. And then finally, a metaverse is the place where this virtual land piece can be used. So in metaverse, I can build my offices on this virtual land. I can buy it, sell it, and use for different purposes of this virtual land. This virtual land does not have the physical significance in the real world. Now, that was one example. So I move to another example where I find another website, which is earth2.io. Again, this is another platform, another website, which is buying and selling the digital land pieces of the globe. So I look at the same Eiffel Tower location in the map, and then they are offering a different price for this virtual land. Similarly, I can go for another platform, which is Decentraland, which is basically the first ever virtual world. And you can go and browse this virtual world. You can create your avatar. You can perform some shopping, buying and selling, and doing businesses. So you can see what's going on around the globe in terms of digital land buying and selling. So there are some issues of in these. The first thing is that the virtual land is bought with Polygon Matic USDT cryptocurrency. So in some countries, these cryptocurrencies are not allowed to use. So if I'm in Pakistan and I want to buy this virtual land, what will be the legal acceptability in Pakistan? Second, the complete historical record of this virtual land trading is available. The same virtual land can also be bought and sold on different platforms. As you have seen, I try to buy the same piece of virtual land of Eiffel Tower on Next Earth and Earth2 platform. So the same land is available in 2 different platforms. So the question is, will there be any issue in terms of ownership of this virtual land? Because let's say if you want to buy a actual land piece, for example, where we have Mazar-e-Qaid, okay, that is a physical land area. If someone wants to buy it, there can be a single owner at one time, but one cannot buy and sell multiple times at the same time, the same place. But here you can see everyone around the globe can create their own website and making the map of the world and start buying and selling of the digital land, which is not authentic, which creates a lot of issues, governance issues and other issues. So the question is, will there be any issue in terms of ownership of this virtual land? Second thing is that when you buy and sell this virtual land, you will be having a unique and NFT, non-fungible token of this virtual land. So when you will buy a virtual land, you will be basically taking a new NFT. Means the NFT is moving from some person to you. So how this works from other platform means how multiple NFTs of the same virtual land looks like in the real world. Similarly, how it will come in under the tax regime when you try to buy a virtual land on internet, whether you will be giving tax on that buying and selling, because in the real world, when you buy a land piece, you have to pay a tax, you have to sign some contracts, you have to declare your land pieces in the revenue department. But when you are buying the digital land over the internet, how all these things will come under the tax regime and under the revenue law? And finally, will this be considered as a land asset? Because it's just a digital picture of an area. It is not actual physical land, and it is not mapped with the actual land. So the question is whether it will be considered as a land asset or not. So you can see by looking at this example, we have seen that there are some legal implications of this trading of the virtual land. And let's say if someone buys the Eiffel Tower, will government of France accept the buyer as the actual owner of the real Eiffel Tower? Because the real owner of the actual Eiffel Tower land is the government of France. And if I develop a website and start selling the land of the Eiffel Tower, the government will never accept it. So these tradings that are going on around the globe, they are having some serious issues in terms of governance, in terms of legal implications. So there is a need that the government look into these issues and see how they can be considered under the law of the land, because people are trying to invest in these assets. They are buying, they are making money out of it, and there are a lot of issues. So these are the things that are open among the researchers. So this was just one example where we can buy a virtual land. And as you have seen, there are multiple technologies involved behind the buying and selling of the virtual land. And the core technology behind all these transactions and buying and selling is blockchain technology. Now, let me give you another example. That example is cryptocurrency. So you may have heard about Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, Cardano. So these are different cryptocurrencies. And right now in the market, we can find more than 17,000 cryptocurrencies. And you yourself can go on the website of GitHub and download the code of Bitcoin, and you can create your own cryptocurrency, virtual currency. But the problem is that virtual currency will not have the value. So you have to artificially create a value in it. So you can see these cryptocurrencies, they have a huge market capital. So market capital, how we calculate the market capital? So when we take the current price and we multiply it with the circulating supply, then it becomes the market capital. So the current price, let's say on July 2022 was $20,000 US. So when we multiply it with the circulating supply of Bitcoin, we will get the market capital. So when we look at the price fluctuation of Bitcoin. So you can see back in July 2021, one Bitcoin was worth more than 30,000 US dollar. So when you convert it in Pakistani rupees, it becomes 60 lakh Pakistani rupees. Means one Bitcoin worth 60 lakh Pakistani rupees. And when you look at the graph in October 2021, the price goes till 60,000 US dollar. So it means it became 1 crore, 1 crore 20 lakh Pakistan rupees. Means within a short span of period, if someone has one Bitcoin within a span of 4 to 5 months, that person get a profit of 60 lakh rupees in few months. That is a huge amount. You know, if you have a if you have a money and if you want to invest somewhere, you will buy some plot, or you will invest in some shares. So the profit that you will make in those sectors, that profit is not that much significant. But when someone invests in Bitcoin, in cryptocurrency, within few months, they can get a profit of 60 lakh rupees. That's a huge amount. Now there is a other side of the coin as well. So let's say if someone bought one Bitcoin in October 2021 and the price was 60,000 US dollar, means 1 crore 20 lakh Pakistani rupee, then in July 2020 that Bitcoin goes to again 20,000 US dollar. So you lost almost all of your money. So you can see there is a huge fluctuation, there is a huge volatility, speculative aspect in Bitcoin. So people around the globe, investors, they try to look at the speculative nature of Bitcoin, and then they invest it and they try to earn. However, those who are not familiar with the investment, or the normal people, they may lose their whole money, or their whole savings of their whole savings. So these are the two aspects that we need to consider. So this graph shows you the fluctuation in the Bitcoin price for the last 7 days, and basically how and where you can buy the cryptocurrencies. So cryptocurrencies can be bought in the marketplaces or exchanges, and in order to acquire cryptocurrencies, you need to have your wallet. Like when you open your bank account, the bank gives you a username and password, and you will install an application of that bank. Similarly, when you buy a cryptocurrency, you need to use a wallet application to access to your cryptocurrency. So this Coinbase is a marketplace, cryptocurrency exchange, where you can buy and sell different cryptocurrencies. Similarly, Binance is another cryptocurrency exchange or marketplace where you can buy and sell different cryptocurrencies. Similarly, Bitfinex is another trading platform. So these are few of the cryptocurrency exchanges where one can buy and sell different cryptocurrencies. Now there are different wallets available. For example, you can use Trezor or Mobi or Coinspace or Cypher, BitPay. These are different wallets which you can use to buy and to access to your cryptocurrencies. So am I audible?
जी सर बिल्कुल सही आवाज आ रही है, क्लियर.
So what are the features of the cryptocurrency? So when we look at different features, so cryptocurrency means it requires strong cryptographic algorithms. Means you need to have secure communication in the presence of adversaries. And some of the famous cryptographic algorithms are encryption, digital signature, and hashing. Encryption means encoding information. Digital signature means you try to provide verification and authenticity to your digital messages and documents. And through hashing, you try to map data of arbitrary length to fixed value. So these are few of the cryptographic algorithms, and in cryptocurrencies, we use these cryptographic algorithms. That's why we call it cryptocurrency. So cryptocurrency is basically computer-based currencies, and they are known as virtual currencies or digital currencies. And in order to manage the cryptocurrency network, you need to build a computer network, and that network is known as blockchain. The unique feature of cryptocurrency is that it is not controlled by a central authority. Like in the case of banks, the banks are controlled by the central bank, regulated by the central bank and the governments. But cryptocurrencies, they are not regulated by any government or any central bank. And if someone wants to buy a cryptocurrency, they can purchase the cryptocurrency through cryptocurrency exchanges. And how you can create new cryptocurrency? You can create new cryptocurrency by mining. Mining is a process in which you create new cryptocurrencies. So different mining algorithms are there. For example, proof of work, proof of stake, and there are some other mining algorithms. So when you perform mining, you get a reward, and that reward is basically in the form of creation of new cryptocurrency, and you will also get some transaction fees as well. There are some other features as well. Bitcoin cryptocurrency is basically a transaction ledger. When we say it is a transaction ledger, it means that there are transactions. If I want to transfer one Bitcoin from one person to another, I will just send a transaction. And when this transaction will arrive, it means the Bitcoins have been transferred. Bitcoin does not have any intrinsic value, means the value has been created artificially. And Bitcoin in itself is not a software. Bitcoin operates on blockchain software. So blockchain, blockchain is a software where you can record information. You can record the information of, let's say, a number of cars. You can record the information of NADRA or any other government department. You can save the record of students' results on blockchain. So similarly, when we save the number of Bitcoins on blockchain, then it becomes Bitcoin. So that's why when we say Bitcoin in itself does not have any benefit, it means that it is not a software. It is just an entry in the ledger. And Bitcoin, when you use 500 rupees or 1,000 rupees or 5,000 rupees or even 5 rupees coin, they physically exist. But Bitcoin does not physically exist. And even Bitcoin as such not digitally exists. It is not even a digital asset. It does not exist digitally. Why I'm saying is that because it's just the entry. Back in 2009, when Satoshi Nakamoto created the first Bitcoin, then he just assumed a few Bitcoins through the mining process and enter the number of Bitcoins in the ledger. That's how the Bitcoin cryptocurrency created. So that's why we are saying that there is no digital Bitcoin exist. No physical Bitcoin exists, no digital Bitcoin exists. And basically, these are only the transactions which shows the ownership rights. So when you send some Bitcoins to someone else, you are basically assigning the ownership rights. You are sharing the transactions. And you basically, when you transfer Bitcoin from one person to another, you update the state of the ledger. I will explain all these concepts later on. So Bitcoin is, in summary, Bitcoin is not even a ledger. Bitcoin protocol is a set of rules that says how the Bitcoin cryptocurrency will function. Now, these were some of the features of the Bitcoin. Now, this is the first block in the Bitcoin blockchain. You can go over the internet and you can explore yourself. So this is the first block. Here, the first Bitcoin, first 50 Bitcoins were created. And these are the addresses, the transaction addresses, which you can track down that who is the owner of the Bitcoin blockchain. And on the right-hand side, you can see some red color icons and green color icons. So they are representing the spent transaction output and unspent transaction output. So let's say if someone has some Bitcoins, if they utilize those Bitcoins, they will be marked in the red color and they will show spent transactions. And if the Bitcoins are not spent and they are available for any utilization or transaction, then it will be marked in green color and they will be considered as unspent transactions. So that was about Bitcoin. Now there are some issues with the Bitcoin cryptocurrency or cryptocurrencies in general. That is the energy consumption of the Bitcoin. So in Bitcoin and in Ethereum, these are the two major cryptocurrencies. We have miners, and miners perform the mining process. During the mining process, a new cryptocurrency is created and being given to the miner. So there are different factors that affect in the contribution of the energy consumption. So mining process consumes a lot of energy, but the question is why people involve themselves in the mining process. People get involved in the mining process because they earn Bitcoin. So as I mentioned, if one Bitcoin is, let's say, 50 lakh rupees, then they will get 12.5 Bitcoin or 6.25 Bitcoin as a reward in the mining process. That's a huge amount. That's a huge amount. So that's why people try to invest in mining. So there are different mining machines available. This is one of the mining machine. It is known as Antminer, Bitcoin Miner S9 Pro. And if you look at the price is around 12 lakh Pakistani rupees, 12 lakh Pakistani rupees for this mining machine. And this mining machine is like a CPU. And when you try to mine it, mine the Bitcoin through this machine, machine will try to solve a cryptographic puzzle. And if this machine is successful in the mining process, you will be getting a mining reward. And this is a hydro container containing a lot of Antminer machines. It contains 210 Antminer machines, the same machine that I mentioned previously. And this hydro container has the overall capacity of 1 megawatt operating capacity. And it can be bought in around 2 crore 20 lakh Pakistani rupees. 2 crore 20 lakh Pakistani rupees can be used to buy this hydro container. And this hydro container again will be used in the mining process. So you can see there's a huge investment going on in the mining process of cryptocurrencies. And the reason is that when you win in the mining process, when you're able to solve the cryptographic puzzle, you get reward, a huge amount of money in solving the cryptographic puzzle. But there are issues with the mining process. In the European Union, EU, they are trying to, consider making laws to ban cryptocurrency mining. And the reason is that the cryptocurrency mining consumes a lot of energy. As you can see, this is the data collected from the Cambridge University Center for Alternative Finance, CCAF, which is a research center in the University of Cambridge Judge Business School. And what they are trying to do, they are trying to capture how much energy has been spent on the mining process of Bitcoin cryptocurrency. So as you can see, the annual consumption is around of Pakistan is around 103.5 terawatts hour per year. The Netherlands has around the same figure. Argentina has the same figure. United Arab Emirates has more or less the same figure. And in between, you can see Bitcoin mining is almost consuming the same amount of energy as these whole countries are spending in their energy in their electricity energy. So it's a huge consumption just in the mining process, and it does not have any utility. So that's why the European Union and other countries are very much concerned about the mining process. Now, this was about mining. And when we look at some other details, so the question is, who held most of the wealth and power in Bitcoin? Or is Bitcoin a decentralized currency? Or can any government, institution, or any person manipulate the price of the cryptocurrency or have control over it? So the answer is that yes, there are some entities which controls Bitcoin economy. So the mining pools are the entities that have the most power in the Bitcoin economy. And as you can see, these 6 mining pools, they control majority of the number of blocks mined to the blockchain. So if they make a consortium, they can easily control and influence the Bitcoin economy. Similarly, there is a scientific study carried out by few researchers, and their research is also published in the form of a news article, also reported in the news article in New York Times. So what they observe is that they try to gather the data of all the transactions from the very beginning when the first Bitcoin cryptocurrency was launched, that is on 3rd January 2009. So in the graph, you can see the number of square blocks shows 1000 Bitcoin, and most of the Bitcoins are being carried by Satoshi Nakamoto, which is represented as agent number 1. And you can see there are a lot of people in this graph showing the amount of cryptocurrency they are owning. So basically, the result of this scientific study concludes that a small fraction of miners held most of the wealth and power in Bitcoin economy. Means if you analyze this first 2 years of Bitcoin, you will find that 64 key players mined the most of the Bitcoin, means they own most of the Bitcoin. So this is against the Bitcoin's egalitarian promise. So when you look at the classical economies, like the real world economies, they follow Pareto distribution. Pareto distribution means that 20% of the population controls or held 80% of the wealth. But in Bitcoin economy, it is even worse than the Pareto distribution. It is, as you can see, only few people, they are having most of the wealth and power in Bitcoin. Now, there is another issue of decentralization. It has been claimed that Bitcoin, nobody can control the Bitcoin and nobody can influence the Bitcoin. However, in scientific terms, that is not the reality. So recently, the price of the Bitcoin and Ethereum went down to 60%, and the reason is that there was a exchange which is known as Celsius network, and this Celsius network has 1.7 million people. So 1.7 million people use this platform for crypto, and what they did is that they froze withdrawals and transfers of 1.7 million accounts of their customers. And when they froze it, the company went liquidate, and this particular website went down, and nobody can buy and sell and use their existing assets that they have on this Celsius website. And this had a great impact on the price of the Bitcoin and Ethereum prices. So the claim that has been made that Bitcoin is a decentralized currency, this claim is not correct, scientifically correct. Moreover, when you look at some scientific studies, they have scientifically proven that Bitcoin is not a decentralized currency. Although blockchain is decentralized, but some people are now dominating the Bitcoin economy. For example, the mining pools and the Bitcoin web wallet services, they have a strong influence on varying the price of the Bitcoin and Ethereum and other cryptocurrency prices. Similarly, the Bitcoin software website is maintained by some software developers. So they can, play with the code and they can manipulate different things on the Bitcoin protocol. Similarly, Bitcoin exchanges have a lot of influence. So the claim that has been made that Bitcoin is a decentralized currency is not scientifically correct. And there is another example. There is a cryptocurrency which is known as Terra USD Lunar. This cryptocurrency is recently collapsed, and due to this collapse, due to the collapse of this cryptocurrency, a lot of people have lost all of their money and investment. So there's a huge risk in using these cryptocurrencies. Now, if you want to explore some scientifically and visualize how the Bitcoin and Ethereum works, you can look at these websites. This is a mining wiz where you can real-time monitor which entities are mining, what are the payments statistics, which payout scheme have been used, how transactions are going on. Similarly, there is another website where you can monitor the Ethereum network. This is known as ethstats.net. So these are two of the platforms where you can monitor Bitcoin and Ethereum statistics scientifically. Now, the question is why Bitcoin is so much famous or was famous, and where was Bitcoin spent, and is Bitcoin a gambling? So basically, due to the highly speculative nature of the Bitcoin and different cryptocurrencies, as you can see, when you invest on cryptocurrency, you get a huge profit. So investors, it is very famous in investors, but it is a speculation. It is highly speculative. So when the Bitcoin was launched back in 2009, nobody was willing to use it. So what they did is that they designed a website which is known as Satoshi Dice. So on the website of Satoshi Dice, they gave incentives to people that they buy some Bitcoin and then they use it for betting. And if you bet and send your Bitcoin to their address mentioned, you will get 2 times, 3 times, 10 times, 50 times, 1,000 times the return if you win in the bet. So that's why people start investing and using Bitcoin. And as you can see over here, back in 2012, they had around 62,000 daily transactions using this gambling app. So initially, Bitcoin was used in gambling, and then it was famous among the community. Now this Satoshi Dice D app is using BCH. BCH is another cryptocurrency, Bitcoin Cash, which is basically designed after the hard fork from the Bitcoin. So hard fork is that when majority of the people do not agree on a cryptocurrency decision, they create a new cryptocurrency out of it. So in August, 1st August 2017, there were a few people who were not agreeing on the Bitcoin chain. So they forked and they developed this new cryptocurrency BCH. Now this website, gambling website, is using BCH, Bitcoin Cash. So that is the reason why people were initially took a lot of attention in Bitcoin cryptocurrency, and that's the reason why Bitcoin was famous initially. Now, the question is there any alternative to cryptocurrency? Yes, we have central bank digital currency. So it's like a digital euro. You have the euro, but now the same euro can also be available in the form of digital form. And similarly, you have in UK central bank digital currency issued by the Bank of England. They are working over it, and there are some other countries as well. They are working on the alternatives of cryptocurrency. Now, the alternative of cryptocurrency will help them to have a digital version of their currencies. Now, these were some of the applications of blockchain technology. So as I mentioned, blockchain has been used in cryptocurrencies, it has been used in NFTs, it has been used in metaverse, Web3, decentralized finance. All these were applications of blockchain. Now, what exactly is blockchain? So blockchain is basically a distributed ledger system. Okay. When I say a distributed ledger system, it means that technically speaking, there are blocks that are linked together in the form of data structure, and we save some information within those blocks. So before going to understand the essence of blockchain, we need to understand the ledger. Ledger is basically a principal book where we record information. So there can be different types of ledgers: sales ledger, purchase ledger, or general ledger, where we try to record different transactions, different records of a company, of an organization, of people. It shows you shows the details about the assets, liabilities, income, expenses, and capital. So, you know, before the arrival of computers, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, or 40 years ago, the records were saved manually on registers. Means if someone has, for example, a piece of land, or someone has some gold, people record those in registers and copies manually. But when the computer has arrived, then people start recording all that information on computers. And initially they were using very basic softwares like Microsoft Excel or Microsoft Word. And then with the advancement in computer science, we have dedicated softwares which are known as database management system, like Oracle or SQL. So all these softwares are designed specifically to record information. When you go to NADRA and you give your national identity card number, so with your national identity card number, NADRA has a database system, and they show you information from the server. So that is a dedicated software. Similarly, when you go to revenue or income tax, or to your university, and you try to access the information, you are basically using a centralized version of a database system. Now, this is a centralized version, but when we try to decentralize it, when we try to remove the main server out of this system, then it becomes blockchain. Blockchain is simply a software where you record information, save information, but there will be no central entity or central server to manage that information. So when you, let's say when you insert a new record to a database, that record need to be checked and validated by the central server. And once the central server happy, they help you to record that information. But in blockchain, there is no central entity, there is no central server, and there are computers which jointly agrees to include a particular record in the blockchain system. So when you look at the transactions in traditional banks and compare it with blockchain, so basically, let's say Alice is the sender of the money, and Alice wants to send $1,000 to Bob. So what she will do, she will access her account with the username and password, and then she make a transaction. So when this transaction goes to the bank, Alice Banks look at the credentials of Alice and check that Alice has sufficient amount or not. Once she has the sufficient amount, Alice Bank then contact the bank of Bob and then say that, okay, Alice has sent $1,000. And then when Bob access to his bank account, he can see the $1,000 in his bank account. And in between, you can see a central bank. Central bank is basically there to monitor all the transaction and to settle down any discrepancies between the banks. So in traditional banking system, when we make a transaction, the transaction goes like this. So you have a username and password, and with your username and password, you can access to the bank website or mobile app, and then you can access to your balance, and then you can make a transaction by mentioning the bank account number of that receiver. But in the context of blockchain, you will send the same cryptocurrency, but there will be no central entity. So when you send money from Alice to Bob in a blockchain network, there will be no central server or no computer, and it's all the nodes, all the computers in the blockchain system that will look at your transaction and help you to make this transaction possible. And this can be done through a mining process. And actually, when you send some money from Alice to Bob, it is the state of the ledger that is going to be updated. So now when we compare the banking model with the Bitcoin, so there are huge differences between both systems. In banking model, in any country, they are regulated by the central bank or the government. But in cryptocurrency, in Bitcoin, there is no central entity. There is no entity that controls or regulate the Bitcoin economy. Similarly, the money is created in banking system by the permission of government, and loans can be taken. However, in Bitcoin, it is developed through the mining process. In the banking system, you have the unlimited supply, virtually unlimited supply of the money, while in Bitcoin you have a finite supply, and there is a fees charge in banking system whenever you make a transaction, whenever you create your account. But in Bitcoin, there is a constant transaction charges. So these are few of the differences. And when you look at the structure of the blockchain, it looks like this. So you have different blocks, and these blocks are linked together, and each of the block has some block header information that contains the block number, the hash value, and the data transactions. And then the next block will contain the same information, and then the previous block will be linked to the next block, so that a chain is created. And this chain of blocks containing data transactions is known as blockchain. So when we compare blockchain or distributed ledger system with database, so both have the common records, both have the global view, and both are distributed. However, in blockchain, there is no central entity. There is no there is no one to regulate it. And when we look at the data in database management system, only the server keeps the record of the whole data, while in blockchain, every node contains the whole data, the copy of the whole data, and consensus is carried out through the mining process. So there are some other differences as well, which I'm going to skip over here because of the time. I need to focus more on the communication side. So basically, now once we understood that blockchain is basically a software where we record and save data, and it does not contain any it does not have any central entity to regulate, and all the participating nodes involved in the mining process. And there are many applications of blockchain like cryptocurrency, Web3, metaverse, NFTs, smart contracts. So now how blockchain can be used in the communication network, and what will be the challenges and opportunities in the developing world. So just to give you a quick context about the communication networks. So when we are using different types of communication networks, wired networks, wireless network, for example, when we use cables like fiber optic cables or optical cables, these types of networks are known as wired networks. And when we use wireless networks like Wi-Fi, mobile phone, they are known as wireless networks. So I'm more focusing on the wireless networks. So wireless networks are operate on different frequency bands, and these frequency bands ranges from kilohertz, megahertz, gigahertz to terahertz. And as you go on from lower frequencies to higher frequencies, the bandwidth of the bandwidth increases. So you can see there are different frequency bands mentioned over here. You have radio communication network where you can listen to radio like FM or any other AM. Then you have the mobile phone network like Uphone, Mobilink, or different mobile phone networks. They operate on a certain frequency band. You have Wi-Fi, you have Bluetooth, and you have satellite networks. So all these networks, they operate and use certain frequency bands. Now, these frequency bands are also known as wireless radio spectrum. This wireless radio spectrum is a scarce resource, and it can be divided into a licensed band and unlicensed band. So, for example, when a mobile phone company want to implement 5G network, they need to buy a license band portion from PTA, Pakistan Telecommunication Authority, and PTA then make an auction of the frequency band, and that is in crore rupees in Pakistan. So whenever they launch a new network, they have to buy a license from the PTA, Pakistan Telecommunication Authority, and only then they can use this wireless radio spectrum. So mobile phone networks, they use license band. However, when we use, let's say, Wi-Fi, it operates on 2.4 gigahertz frequency, which is unlicensed band, which one can use freely. So the wireless radio spectrum band has some allocation policy. Here you can see the wireless radio spectrum map of USA, which is issued by the FCC, Federal Communication Commission. And this map shows you frequency bands from few kilohertz to megahertz. And the different color portion shows you the usage of the frequency band. For example, some portion of the frequency band is used by broadcasting AM radio. Some portion of the frequency band is used for television broadcasting. And this is the wireless radio spectrum map of UK Ofcom. So when we look at the wireless radio spectrum, it shows occupancy. For example, several studies have been taking place long time ago, and it shows that not all the frequency band is used optimally. So there are some part of the time where these frequency bands are not used correctly. For example, here you can see some frequency bands are not used, and some frequency bands are used heavily. So this is the wastage of the wireless radio spectrum, and for that they came up with a new technology that is known as cognitive radio. Cognitive radio are intelligent radio devices that can sense and identify the unused radio spectrum and then build a communication network. In simple words, let's say you have a mobile phone and you are using, let's say, Mobilink or Uphone or any other mobile phone service. So you will insert a SIM in your mobile phone, and then you can only use the frequency band of that mobile phone network which have the SIM in your mobile phone. Okay, but cognitive, if you have a cognitive radio, it means that it can sense any portion of the wireless radio spectrum, and whatever spectrum is free, you can try to build and communicate on that portion of the spectrum. So basically, this cognitive radio device, they are intelligent mobile devices, and in military, there's a huge use of this cognitive radio devices in military. For example, in Pakistan Army, we have the military signals corps. In all the armies around the globe, they have the signal corps, which helps the armies, which help the forces to communicate with each other. So they have these cognitive radio devices, and they try to hack different frequency bands or jam the communication network of the enemies. So these cognitive radio devices, they have certain functionalities, and they try to identify the unused wireless radio spectrum and try to build the network over here. So they can also be used in disasters as well. So when there is a natural disaster, the whole telecommunication infrastructure get destroyed. So you use these devices to establish emergency communication and help in the rehabilitation works and help NGOs to communicate with the affectees. So basically, how we can use these communication networks in blockchain and what are the opportunities for developing worlds. Basically, blockchain has enormous applications in different networks. For example, in Wi-Fi, one can use it for congestion avoidance and anonymous access control. In cellular networks, when we try go for another country, we have roaming. So roaming can be recorded through blockchain. Similarly, in multimedia network, blockchain can be used, and in IoT, blockchain can be used. And more specifically, in cognitive radio networks, when we try to buy the spectrum. So here you can see we have the spectrum regulator, and we have some usable frequency chunks. So these frequency bands can be traded by the to the secondary users, and that can be done easily through the blockchain network. So there's a huge potential where we can buy, and trade wireless radio spectrum with the help of blockchain technology. Now, when in developing countries, when they make auctions, they have to wait for a long period of time. But if they use blockchain system, that auction mechanism can be done very quickly and very efficiently. So there is a need that the developing countries can use this blockchain technology and use it in different application areas. So this was one application area and one need where blockchain can be used. There are other areas as well. For example, in a smart grid communication network, smart grid is basically a new type of electrical grid where we try to incorporate communication, information and communication infrastructure with the traditional grid. And blockchain can also be used in a smart grid as well. For example, you have solar roof PV plants, you have wind turbines, and you are generating some extra energy, and you want to inject that energy back to the grid, and you want to do it quickly, and you want to buy and sell some extra energy. So you can create virtual power plants and use blockchain system for the trading of the excess electrical energy in the smart grid communication system. So here I just want to finish my presentation by showing you a warning on the cryptocurrency. So in Europe, in Ireland, and in Europe, they have issued a warning for the public that cryptocurrency or crypto assets are highly risky and speculative and may not be suitable for retail customers. And they are also saying that they are considered as sattebazi, juwa. So in Europe, they are trying to make aware the people to not invest on cryptocurrency because people may lose their whole money. So here I just want to finish my presentation, and these are few of my books on blockchain. So thank you very much, and if you have any question, I'm available.
Assalamu alaikum, Dr. Saab.
Walaikum salam.
I am Dr. Shahid Munir. I am from DHS Sofa University, Karachi. So I heard your presentation and it was very beneficial. I have a question. Actually, I was working on one research project that was about the electronic health record. And when actually electronic health record system is used in US as well, and in European countries, okay, to maintain the medical records of patients. And this information is very valuable for the hackers especially. So there is a need, okay, to secure this system. So there are multiple security systems, okay, and research is going on those systems. I actually, when I was, I wrote a research paper on this, and I saw a few research papers where people use blockchain technology to secure this system. But actually, I could not understand how it could be used. Okay, so can you please a little bit explain about this?
Yes. So blockchain can also be used in the management of electronic health record system, and the issue will be, for example, in hospitals. Right now, they have servers. They have dedicated softwares for record management, health record management, and not all the people can access those records. Okay, only limited person can access those records. Those records are not publicly available. When someone is going to use blockchain system for medical health record system, first they need to decide what type of blockchain architecture they are going to use. If they are going to use a public blockchain system, it means they are making all the data of the patients and all the critical information publicly available over the internet, which is not feasible for such critical information. So before deciding which type of blockchain system one may use for management of health record system, they need to decide what type of blockchain architecture they will use. Public blockchain system is not feasible. They may go for consortium blockchain or private blockchain. Okay, that is the first thing. Second thing is that blockchain system provide more security because there is no central entity, and the data will be recorded on multiple systems, so there is no one point of failure. However, the issue is that if the blockchain system is compromised by a 51% attack, then and only then the whole system can be manipulated or compromised. But in the current blockchain systems, they have very secure use of information. They are using a strong cryptographic algorithm. They are using hashing and mining. So it is a bit difficult to compromise the existing blockchain system. So did I answer your question?
Yes, Dr. Saab, almost you answered. But I need to ask one more thing, okay, about this. Actually, there are certain rules, like, you know, HIPAA is in America, in US, I think, okay, and in European countries, they use GDPR laws. So whether they, you know, allow to use the blockchain technology to secure these systems or not?
This is a serious issue here. In Europe, we have GDPR, and due to GDPR, they do not want the patient's data or any entity's data publicly available. So what they are asking from the researchers, that they can go for private blockchain or consortium blockchain, and even in those systems they have to look for the privacy issues. So these are the issues with the blockchain system in managing those systems, and EU is specifically very much careful in adopting the blockchain system because of these privacy concerns. You are right.
Okay, thank you, Dr.
Saab. Thank you, Dr. Saab, for a wonderful session. I have. Can you hear me, Dr. Saab?
Yes.
I have a couple of questions. One is that those who are. I'm Dr. Salim, Chairperson, Computer System Department in Dawood University. I have a couple of questions. One is that those who are doing mining, what are the advantages for doing that, and who can do that? I mean, can we do this in Pakistan? And another question is that do you recommend or do you suggest that investing in these cryptocurrency is beneficial in the future? And if so, then which currency we should invest? Do you think that it will be beneficial in the future?
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Saab. So basically, mining can be carried out by anyone. You can even perform mining by yourself. Take your mobile phone be a miner, download the Bitcoin or Ethereum software, and you can start mining. But the question is that whether you will be successful in the mining or not. Because if you are successful, if you are a successful miner, you will get 6.25 Bitcoin as a reward. It is about one Bitcoin is, let's say, 50 lakh rupees. So you can see you will get 3 crore rupee for a single mining. So there's a whole competence, there is a whole race behind the mining process. And mining is basically solving a cryptographic puzzle. If you have a powerful computer, the probability of winning solving the puzzle is high. So you can participate in the mining process with your ordinary mobile phone, but the chances of winning the mining process is almost zero, negligible. So you need to go for mining pools or buying some strong machines. Then and only then you can mine. And I have mentioned few of the mining machines, so you can see they are very costly. So those investors who have a lot of money, they invest on these mining equipment, and they gather a lot of powerful machines like GPUs or clusters or mining pools, and then they start mining. And then and only then the mining process will be beneficial for them. So that is the answer for the first question. For the second question, there are two things: whether cryptocurrencies are suitable for investment or not. So as you have seen, I have mentioned the warning from the European Central Bank authorities, EBA. So each country has a central bank. For example, Pakistan has a State Bank of Pakistan has a central bank. Then in European Union, we have 27 countries, including France, Germany, Italy, Spain, etc. And each of these countries have a central bank. And then on top of these central banks, they have a European Banking Authority, which is working as a European Union Central Bank. And they are issuing a warning to the general public of all the Europe that do not invest on cryptocurrency, because they are not protected by the government. Means if you invest on cryptocurrency, you may lose or you may win, okay? And if you lose, there is no way you can recover your money. So here in Ireland or in different European countries, a lot of people have lost all of their investment, all of their money. So that's why here they have the tendency, they have this warning issued, and they are making, launching, they have been launching a huge campaign against cryptocurrencies or crypto assets, because they are not backed by the government. And you can even yourself create your own cryptocurrency and making people, attracting to invest in it. And it's a huge, sort of playing with the investment of people. Now there is another aspect, which is Sharia aspect, whether our religion allows us to invest in such cryptocurrencies. So when I consulted with Ulama Ikram and Muftiyan Ikram, they said that there are some basic issues with the cryptocurrencies, and those issues ranging from gambling, speculation, sattebazi, and these are the secondary issues. The primary issue is that it is not being considered as a currency, and there are some other more technical issues with respect to Sharia. So Muftiyan Ikram and Ulama Ikram, they are recommending to avoid investing in cryptocurrencies, because they are not suitable for in terms of Islamic Sharia.
Thank you, Dr. Saab.
Mubashir Saab, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Walaikum
Sir,
salam.
I have two questions. My first question was, as Dr. Salim told that, how can we use the blockchain technology in Pakistan? Maybe I read many articles that many banks in Pakistan, like Habib Bank, Jazz Bank, or different banks, are trying to use the blockchain technology in Pakistan. So I think they are just focusing on one application, that is the remittance application for blockchain. And my second question is that can we improve the blockchain application as well as the infrastructure in terms of optimization like energy or cost or the delay? So it means that we need to change the blockchain application as well as the infrastructure from centralized to decentralized. So could you please help us that in Pakistan, from where we can start the usage of blockchain technology as a profession?
So thank you very much for your questions. So blockchain technology can be used anywhere where we are recording or saving data. For example, in a university, in Dawood University, or in Mehran University, or in any university, we are saving records. We are saving records of theses. We are saving records of results. So we are saving that record in database. Okay, and in principle, we can replace the database, the existing system, with blockchain system, because blockchain will do the same thing and save the record. But the question is that, will it be feasible? So this is the primary question that we need to ask, whether we should replace the existing system, existing database system, with the blockchain or not. And the first question is it feasible in terms of privacy? So basically, when you are saving record in a university of all the results, you have an exam department. An exam department is saving the marks of the students and then issues the degree. And we rely on exams department. So exam department have the main record of all the students' result, and that is critical. Now, if you replace the existing exam record with the blockchain system, it means that now every student can have access to all the examination record, and they can change any entry, any marks in the record. So, that blockchain will bring. So we need to answer, do we want this thing to be applicable to the examination system? If we don't want this, then blockchain is not feasible to replace the current examination system. Are you getting my point? That is the main question that we need to ask, because blockchain moves us from centralized to decentralized system and enable all the participating node to make manipulation or changing in the blockchain in the records. So this is the first question. So first we need to look at what type of application we are looking at, and whether that application requires the public visibility of the record, and whether all the nodes, all the participating nodes can make changes. If our system, our application does not want all the people to participate and make changes in the record, then blockchain is not a suitable technology for that particular application. Similarly, for certain applications, we can use blockchain system, and but for those applications, we need to look at whether we need to adopt a consortium blockchain or private blockchain. And there are numerous applications. For example, we can use blockchain in land record system, or in buying and selling of cars, and others in other sectors. But again, a public blockchain will not be 100% replaceable or a solution for that. We need to look technically what are the requirements of that application, and then we can adopt a particular blockchain solution. I hope I answered your question.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much.
Assalamu alaikum, Dr. Saab.
Wa alaikum assalam.
I have one question.
Yes. I cannot hear you. Can you repeat your question, please?
Hello.
Yes. Can you please repeat your
hello.
question?
I have one question relating to the how can I test my own concept algorithm platform?
No, your voice was not audible. Can you please repeat again?
Hello. Yes.
Yes. Can you please repeat?
My question is relating to the blockchain technology mechanism. How can I test my own consensus algorithm at open source platform like Ethereum And another question is how I can measure the blockchain node performance in cross-border platform. Thank you.
Yes. So basically, for example, if you are interested in Bitcoin blockchain or Ethereum blockchain, their source code are already available online. So you can download that source code and you can build your private network, test network, and then you can modify or incorporate your own consensus algorithm into that blockchain. But you cannot do it on the live network because the live network is different. So you can download the whole code, source code of Bitcoin or Ethereum or any other cryptocurrency. You can run it in the test mode, and you can make changes in the existing consensus algorithm, or you can incorporate your own consensus algorithm. That is the response to the first question. And can you repeat? I forgot your second question.
Hello. My
Yes. Yes.
the measurement of the blockchain nodes. How can I in the cross-border platform?
Yes, in the cross-border platform, you can check, for example, there are different parameters like number of transactions. Okay, so it basically depends upon the consensus algorithm. Right now, when you use it for cross-border transfer of Bitcoin proof of work, it may take 10 minutes or more than 10 minutes for a block to be added because of the mining process. So that is one of the hurdle in the Bitcoin blockchain, that it does not provide sufficient transaction capacity, transaction speed. Because when you look at Visa card or debit card, they have hundreds of thousands of transactions in 1 minute. However, we do not have the same capacity of transaction in cross-border applications in Bitcoin or Ethereum. Ethereum has more, but still it is not equivalent to the current Visa system or debit system. So you can measure it with the help of number of transactions, or how the blocks are, how much frequency the blocks are added to the blockchain, and all this information are available online. That is one thing. Second thing is that there are platforms, software available in which you can implement your own blockchain system, a cross-border payment system or any other blockchain system, and they provide you the facility to check, to evaluate the performance of your blockchain system. For example, if you look at the Hyperledger organization, this is basically a consortium. They have different platforms. They have Hyperledger Fabric, and they have different platforms, and one of their platforms help you to measure the performance of your blockchain system.
Thank you, sir. Sir, this is Imran Alvi. I'm working as an assistant professor in telecommunication department. Sir, I have a question. Basically, would you recommend, like, for being a counselor, how should we counsel to students regarding blockchain technology and cloud technology? How you rate, like, which one is the more easier and scalable and easy to get job, and in terms of learning for undergrad student? Like, what do you recommend? Should we introduce them cloud first, or should we also introduce them this decentralized blockchain concept? And so my second question is, like, you showed earlier, there's a metaverse where we can buy up places and everything. What kind of skill sets student required to come up with that kind of application on Web3 or Web2? Come up with that kind of application, like to sell or participate in this new era of trading and all those things. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you so much for your question. So regarding your first question about blockchain or cloud computing, when we compare blockchain with cloud is much more mature than blockchain. The reason is that in different universities internationally, you have full-fledged master's program or even undergraduate program on cloud computing. And it is far much mature than blockchain. Blockchain is still evolving. but both of these technologies have a lot of potential. So I cannot just say that we should prefer blockchain over cloud or prefer cloud over blockchain. Both have a lot of potential. So it totally depends upon the interest of the student. If they want to go for the cloud, that is a very good option. And if they want to adopt and learn about blockchain, that is a very good venue. So regarding your second question, so one is just investing and buying and selling and trading about digital assets. So for that, there is no technical skills, computer skills required. They just need to have some knowledge about buying and trading, and selling at the right time, buying at the right time, to gain some benefits or profit. For that, they need to get some understanding about the markets, manipulation, and all these things. But
Sir,
if they want to,
Sir, excuse me, sir. I was basically asking not for trading or buying. I was asking to creating a platform where other people will sell and buy those tickets. Like
yes, so
instead of
for
buying
that,
or selling, they come up with that product where people will do trading.
yes,
For that
so
kind of a skill set one required. Thank you very much.
so for that, there are different types of platform. For example, if someone wants to design and build a cryptocurrency exchange, then it requires a different skill set. And if someone want to create, let's say, a blockchain system itself, or a platform where one can buy that crypto asset, so first they need to work on the open source programming language, which should be a cross platform enabled. For example, they can go for Python or any other programming language. And then they need to understand what type of crypto asset class they are going to deal with. For example, right now, majority of the NFTs, the non-fungible tokens, they are based on Ethereum. So they need to get expertise on Ethereum.
Hello. Hello.
Yes, yes.
I'm Arif Abdullah from Electronic Engineering Department. My question is regarding to the cyber security of blockchain, especially when we use for smart grid, where we use the digital ledger and the wallet, because there are the number of consumer are use the bidirectional information or communication system. So is it a foolproof system from the cyber attack?
So, the current existing, even the existing smart grid systems, they are not 100% protected from cyber attacks. If you look at some of the grids in US or in Canada, they face some cyber attacks. So, the cyber attack space is very huge, and with the passage of time, new attacks are evolving. So, cyber security experts need to think beyond the thinking of the attackers. They need to continuously work to protect their existing systems. Now, as far as blockchain is concerned, when you will be using blockchain in smart grid system, for example, for buying and selling of electrical energy, blockchain has the capacity to protect you from the cyber attacks, but it depends how you program. So if you use some existing blockchain system, for example, Bitcoin or Ethereum, and then reuse your code to change it and modify it for your smart grid context, then they are quite protected from the cyber attacks. But again, there are specific types of attack that can be launched against these types of blockchain system. For example, 51% attack, or there are some other specific type of attacks. So people have to continuously work to protect the system, but in general, they are secure system, and they can be used in blockchain in smart grid context in terms of trading, and not in terms of controlling the smart grid. For controlling the smart grid, we have different IEEE standards which we should use in the smart grid for controlling the cyber physical system.
Good also.
So any other question? yes, we can get the recording of this lecture and yes.
That's मेरी आवाज आ रही है?
जी sir.
So thank you very much for your time and sharing your expertise with our students. Most of our audience are postgraduate students and faculty members that were doing their postgraduate studies in the area of computer and electronics engineering. It was a very excellent, well organized, systematically developed presentation, and you have presented it in a very excellent way. I'm very thankful to you for your time and sharing your expertise. Once again, I am thankful to you, Doctor. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being invited me, and Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz. Allah.